Hi, guys. Welcome back to Crime Time with Jess. So, we have some pretty serious news. Dylan Rounds has been found. His body has been found. Um, I'm going to try to get through this without crying or any of that. But I think we should just start this off. Hey, Justice Jane. What a day, huh? What a day. I'll just say that I don't believe a lot in coincidences, especially multiple ones. And I've always been honest that the reason that this case drew my attention is because Dylan disappeared on my birthday. Today is my daughter, Aubrey's 8th birthday, and he was found. And I think that's very weird, but that happened. So I have cried. Um, the strangest thing ever is I have not talked about Dylan. I have not talked about his case in months and months. Even the people behind the scenes that I have gone through this case with, I had not talked to them. For some crazy reason, I was talking to a friend on Facebook today through Messenger. And I, for some reason, went into this crazy rant about Dylan Rounds. And I was talking all about him. I was telling her all about this case. She knew nothing about it. And at the end of it, I said, I'm sorry. I said it, I'm sorry. I said, this case just, I'm still passionate about this damn case. And I said, but, Brenner probably chopped him up and his body will never be found. And we went on. And it was about 45 minutes after I sent that text to my friend who, again, knew nothing about Dylan Rounds or this case, that Taylina, Kurt Wadsworth's daughter, texted me and said, hey, you know that Dylan's body was found today. And I was warming something up in my microwave, and I had my phone in my hand, and when I saw that text go across, I just stopped. And I looked at it and I said, I texted her back just in all caps, oh my God, are you serious? And she said, yes. And I just stopped. I still have not ate dinner. I just feel so charged. I don't know how to explain how I feel. I was telling Tyler, I said, that this case has always bothered me and been so serious for me. There's so much, and I can't even say it still, but there's so much that if I could have uploaded to YouTube conversations that I had in private with people from Montello, Lucent, I could have did that and just let you guys listen to all kinds of behind the scenes stuff that probably would have got thousands of views. And I did not do that. There was something about this case that was deep to me. I don't know why. This isn't about me, but it just was. There's something about Dylan that just drew me so in. A year ago, I was you guys don't even know. I was on the phone with a homicide detective, the FBI, people, Glorndellen, people, Marcos, who has passed away, the TV, broadcaster, on the phone with these people and privately, and there were so many nights where I literally would be on conference calls with multiple people, 5, 6 people, and I was so tired that I would just fall asleep, and they would still keep talking, and I would have to ask them the next day, like, hey, what else did you guys talk about? Because I kind of fell asleep, but it was just so exhausting. It was mentally taxing. There was so much that happened again that you guys still aren't aware of, and there's no need for me to disclose it now because he's been found. But when I got that text from Taylina, it just, like, everything just stopped. I just could not believe they found him. They actually did it. And then when the shock sort of wore off a little bit, I was like, wait a minute. So James Brenner took a plea bargain. So this means there's not going to be a trial. This means that we're not going to get to know why Brenner did this, what led up to it. That bothers me. This is a person that covers true crime. But at the same time, I'm so happy that Dylan, for his loved ones, has been found. Um, for some reason, his grandmother, I've never talked to her um, or anything, but she is just so heavy on my mind. You know, this woman has stayed out of the public eye. They've given no interviews, you know, her or her husband. But by all accounts, we all know that they were very, very close to Dylan. And so, you know, there's something about it. I was going to not monetize this live stream because I really wanted to start it with Justin Rounds. Justin Rounds about broke my heart last year when he posted the Cats of the Cradle song for Dylan. I'll never listen to that song the same. I've known that song my entire life. And when he posted it, I understand why he posted it. You know, I think Justin has been a guy that has been filled with a lot of regret with the type of parent that he was to Dylan. He wasn't there like he should have been, you know, and that song is just so perfect. And I just listened to it before I went live. And I was going to start this live with that song. Tyler said, no, you know, just go live. So I am. But I've been drying some tears, and this is really, it's so bittersweet. You know, he's found. He's going to be able to be buried. His loved ones or people of the public that gave a crap about him or about this case are going to be able to visit his grave respectfully and honor him. But at the same time, this plea deal with Brenner, we don't know what it is. How long is he going to get? 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Brenner's 61 years old. So, you know, Candace in the past, the DA doesn't just give out deals without basically the family's blessing. Candace in the past has said, hey, Glory, you know, like no to deals, like screw your deals. So I feel like this deal had to be good for her to agree to it. Yes, Brenner led them to Dylan's remains today. And again, we do not know what that plea agreement that he made was. I'll tell you my thoughts about Brenner. This is something that I've talked to the detective about 1,000 times, but I kept saying to him, Brenner can be broke. He's emotional. And the reason that I thought that was because Brenner, a year or so ago, said, I don't want any lawyers. I want to reach out to Dylan's family. He wanted to talk to them. And he called them. And Dylan's grandmother and Candace were, you know, emotions running high. Instead of listening to whatever he had to say, they hung up the phone. And I was angry about that. You know, I was like, oh, why did they do that? You know, why couldn't you just keep your emotions in check and just get it out of him of where Dylan is? But I get it. You know, they hate this guy, and rightfully so. But I just always felt that was such a huge missed opportunity to have him come clean. So, but it has happened now. Finally, Dylan has been found. And I never thought this day was going to come. I just never thought. Okay, let me just collect my thoughts for a minute. I'm sorry. I'm not even sure why I'm so emotional. I just think it's because this case grabbed me in a way that a lot of others didn't. And I spent so many days, nights, hours, weeks, months just mulling over every single thing about this case. And I didn't put it on YouTube because it's not about the money. It's not. If it was, again, there's so much stuff I could upload even at this very minute. I just didn't. It just wasn't about that. I did invest a lot into this case, Colleen, like a lot. And you know, I have sons. My son is 19. He will be 20 this year. And I always thought about my own kids with this case, like what I would do. I would be going out of my mind. You know, so Dylan, I just looked at him like this could have been one of my kids. This could have been my son. You know, how would I have felt? Um, I know that Candace hasn't been beloved in the media by everyone, but at the end of the day, she is still a mother that her son was murdered. Period. Justin Rounds, I'll tell you, almost literally broke me emotionally. I follow him on Facebook. I have for over a year, and some of the things that he has posted are legitimately heartbreaking. I mean, prior to Dylan's disappearance, you didn't see a lot of posts about Dylan. You saw a lot of posts about Colton. After Dylan's disappearance, you saw a lot of regret, guilt with Justin. And I think that regret and guilt potentially came from not being there for Dylan the way he should have been. And I think that's exactly why he posted the Cats in the Cradle song. Um, and again, I'll just never listen to that song the same. Leopard Print, hi. It was all consuming. Of course, you're going to be emotional. It was, you know, and I feel silly that I feel so emotional. This is not my child. I never met Dylan. I feel kind of silly about that. But I can only imagine if I feel this way, how his grandmother feels. You know, a woman that was extremely close to him, how his brother and sister feel, how both of his parents feel, how his best friend JD feels, how all of these people that truly, you know, loved him, cared about him, how they feel. And I hope for them that there's some sense of relief that they can bring him back and properly bury him. Um, but again, you know, this is never the way you want your child to come home. He's coming home in a box. He's coming home in a box. So, um, I went live with Glory earlier on her channel, and I did a good job. I kept it together. I didn't cry a lot. I had a couple moments, but it's just I feel amped up. Like from the moment that Taylina texted me that he was found, I just haven't been able to calm down, and I don't know why. I just feel like, oh, I can't settle down. And I don't know. It's all these rambling thoughts. Obviously, I did not plan on going live right now. I didn't plan on talking about Dylan right now. This is just it's bittersweet. That's all I can say. I was saying on Gloria Dylan's live stream earlier that I kind of hope that, just with Dylan's grave, that they put like a bench or something where people can just sit and say, hey, you know, love you, kid, or whatever. You know, I'm very mixed up in my head. I just, it's I think it's weird to feel so much emotion over someone you've never met. But I just can't help it. Maybe it's because I'm a mom. Maybe it's because I've had sons his age. I'm not really quite sure what it is. I just feel incredibly relieved and sad at the same time. So, um, What's Glory's channel? It's right there above you, Justice Jane. It's True Crime Utah, Glory Dillon. Um, but so we were talking a little bit on Glory Dillon's channel about where exactly he was found, because it says he was found like on the border of Nevada. Well, Lucin is darn near on the border of Nevada. I mean, it's only like 20 minutes from Montello, which is over the border. So, where exactly he was found in Lucin, I seen Badger say that he was seen in Lucin. I haven't seen those reports yet. But honestly, I've been trying to calm myself down, if I'm being honest. I watched East Idaho News. I did watch that. But I would really like to know where exactly he was found. And, something I learned a long time ago from Kurt Wadsworth, was that James Brenner's truck overheated. It was bad. The truck was going bad. And, Kurt told me that the truck couldn't go past 5 miles without overheating. So I'm going to take Kurt at his word for that. And if that's the case, if it's 5 miles from Brenner where he was squatting, if it's further than 5 miles, well then who took Dylan's body there? Because it didn't get there with Brenner's truck, again, if it was past 5 miles. Did he take Dylan's truck? Did he really take this child's body? And I'm going to call him a child because I'm 42, okay? This kid was 20 years old. Did he really take this guy's young man's body in his own damn truck and bury him somewhere? I don't know. Yeah, remote area. And that's kind of why I always thought that he would never be found, Justice Jane, because it's desert. It all looks the same. I mean, you could just pick a spot and just dig a hole, bury it. It's just not going to look like anything is there. And it's strange that we're almost at the 2-year mark of Dylan missing. He's been found. So I was speculating on Gloria Dillon's channel what's left, because she was talking about autopsy and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, well, how do they do an autopsy? Like, there can't be any flesh left. It's been 2 years. He's buried out in the desert. So I imagine it's just skeletal remains and things like that. Glory was saying that, if it's just his bones, and if Brenner had hit him in the head or shot him or whatever, they're going to be able to see that, hopefully in his bones. I hope so as well. It's just, this whole thing, it is just, it completely mind effing to me. Because again, I was having this entire conversation about Dylan Rounds 45 minutes before Taylina texted me and said he was found. And I haven't done it in months. And the detective that, we've been through this whole case together, him and I haven't talked to him in months. And as soon as I found out, I called him. And he answered. And he goes, "Hi, Jessica. Long time no talk." And I was like, "They found him. They found him." And he was like, "They did? They found him?" I said, "They found him." So we had a whole moment there. I don't know. I feel like I have so much to say, and I don't know how to get it out. I just don't. Like, Glorindel is saying maybe he had some water jugs to fill up the radiator. Maybe. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Rest in peace, Dylan. 100%. I just couldn't let this go by without coming on here, showing my face, and talking to you guys. Because when I found Dylan's case, I guess you could say, it really wasn't covered on YouTube. There wasn't really anyone covering him, And the way that all worked out is I saw some people that had commented, and one of them stuck out to me. It was Taylina. And I thought to myself, this person is talking as if she knows him. So I messaged her. And sure enough, she did. She was Kurt's daughter. And that's how all of that came about. And, I talked to Kurt, I talked to her. Jim Terry enters the mix. I mean, he was hired by the family. He found me. I was sitting there, like, in my garage with Tyler and his mom and his stepdad, and we're sitting around. The garage door's open, and all of a sudden I get a call from Jim Terry. I have no idea who this guy is. No idea how he got my phone number or how he even knows me. And he's like, "Hey, you've been talking to people. You know stuff about Dylan Rounds." And I'm like, "Yeah, who are you?" "Oh, well, I'm a private detective and da 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 da." "Okay, who are you?" We didn't get off to a good start, as you can imagine, but it just, I would like to hear Jim's thoughts actually right now, to be honest with you. Like every single person that I talked about this case with, dealt with this case with, did a lot of things behind the scenes. I never lied to you guys about talking to the FBI. I definitely did more than once. And I helped in any way that I could. And yeah, I don't know. Again, I just don't know why I'm so emotional. Um, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Leopard print, Black Dove. I wonder if he's still around. We were actually talking about that on Gloria Dellen's channel earlier. I haven't talked to Dove in a long while. I did send him a telegram because that's how we would always communicate. So I haven't heard back from him. If I do, and if he's okay with me letting you guys know, I'll let you know. But I do know that Black Dove is not dead. People have speculated on that. He is not dead. He is alive. If you just give me a second, I'm gonna get some tissue. I need to blow my nose. I'm getting super nasally because I keep creeping up to the line of crying and pulling myself back. So just let me grab some tissue and I'll be right back. Honestly, I really don't know how detectives do this without getting emotional. I just don't know. It's got to be so much stress on them. Just being a YouTuber, just covering a case, and I'm this emotional. I just don't know how these men and women do this every day of their life and get through it. I mean, they've got to have PTSD. There's just no way they don't. Leopard print. Oh, I love that you still communicate. It's been a while, Leopard. It's been a while since I've talked to Dove. It definitely has been a while. He's just not dead. I'm just telling you guys, he's not dead. But it has been a while. So I don't know if he knows that Dylan has been found. We were talking about this on Gloria Dellen's channel. Again, Dove always held out a ton of hope that Dylan would be found alive. And no matter how many times I would try to break it to him, easy, not easy, whatever, he just would not accept it. He would find a way to tell me that, that doesn't matter. He can still be found alive. So I just think that he's probably going to take this very hard. He's probably going to take it really, really hard. Black Dove, I know just personally, he truly was very invested emotionally in this case and wanted Dylan to be found alive. And he held out every single hope and every single conspiracy theory he ever found. he would latch onto it because he wanted that to be true. So my sympathies to him because I know this is not going to be easy for him to hear. And again, I feel like this speaks a lot to Dylan. You have people, again, myself, Black Dove, all you guys, that we've never met him. We've never met him. We don't know him. But yet here we all are. Here we all are, and we give a lot of shit about this, a whole lot, and I think that just speaks to him, speaks to his character. Justice Jane, whatever happened to the salty guy? I don't know, Justice Jane. I really don't. I think him, Doug, Jim Terry, I think they've all been kicked off YouTube. I believe, I think I was told earlier that Doug is on Rumble, which has been described to me as the poor man's YouTube. So I really don't know what happened to those guys, but I told Tyler a long time ago. I said, I can tell you right now what's going to happen to Jim Terry's channel. When he started his channel up, I was like, they're going to love it. It's going to blow up, and then it's going to literally blow up and disintegrate because drama channels like that just don't last too long. It's this big explosion of, oh my God, look at all this crazy stuff they're saying. And then, people are going to turn on you. And I think we've seen that happen, or you guys have. I stopped following Doug a very long time ago. So, Glorindale is saying yes, kicked off. Tamara, I would talk to my sister about Dylan's case. So today I had to say a prayer to tell her, I wish you were here. They found Dylan. Yeah, listen, I just cannot tell you how crazy this was for me. A couple days ago, actually, I was laying in bed. It's morning, 6:30 in the morning. Tyler's getting up for work. And I was up, and for some reason, and now it's irrelevant, but I had this thought click in my head about Dylan Rounds and his case. And I said to Tyler, again, like 6:30 in the morning, I was like, I got to go live. I want to talk about this, about Dylan. I had this thought of how can this be this and this. And I'd gone through all these mental gymnastics of just something that I had thought about. And I don't know why. I just wanted to go live about him. I didn't. And then today, again, just dumped this entire case on a friend who has no idea about this case. But I am going to show you guys what I said to her. So I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Oh, maybe I have to unblur my... No, I don't think you guys are going to see it. I'll read it to you. I sent her a screenshot. I said, look how tiny Montello is. Population 22. And then I apologized to her. I said, sorry. I still get passionate about that damn case. I'm pretty sure Brenner chopped him up so his body will never be found. I said, but anyways, I'm off to dig deep into America's favorite con artist, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And it was 45 minutes after I sent that message to my friend that Taylina texted me. So random, so weird. Coincidence, I guess. He goes missing on my birthday. He's found on my daughter's. I don't know what my cosmic connection to Dylan Rounds is, but it's something. I know that sounds crazy. I think it's crazy, but there's just something, and I don't know what it is. I don't. Jess, you knew because you're not a psychic. Exactly. Exactly, Colleen. Mental gymnastics. Yeah, I did. I don't know why, Justice Jane. And this is a couple days ago. Like, I just was, I was up really late, and I started randomly thinking about Dylan and his case, and then something clicked in my head. And again, the whole thought of it now is just irrelevant because he's been found. But I had this whole thought, and I was like, you know what? I need to talk to my people about this. I need to go live. I need to bring this to their attention because this just dawned on me after all these days and weeks and months and years of just mulling over this case continuously. This one thing just popped in my head, and I was like, I told Tyler I need to go live about Dylan Rounds, and he was like, like where did that come from? So yes, leopard print. Yes, that the whole thing that drew me to Dylan's case was I follow the True Crime. I think it's True Crime Society. I think that's what it's called on Facebook. I was scrolling Facebook one day. It was right after my birthday. And I see this, and I start reading it. It's like, Dylan Rounds went missing on May 28th. Well, that's my birthday. So that caught my eye. I was like, oh, that's my birthday. He went missing on my birthday, and then I started reading the comments. Well, Taylina was in those comments. And the way that she was talking, I could just tell this person isn't just any person. This person has some type of connection to this case. And I privately messaged her. And it just went from there. Her and I clicked and we talked, and she ended up, putting me in contact with Kurt. And so that's how all of that went down. And just so you guys know, I did ask Tay to go live with me tonight. I kind of waited a little bit too long because I did go on Gloria Dylan's live with her. But, I ended up asking Tay around 9:45. I said, I'm sorry. It was 9 o'clock. I said, will you go live with me? And she said she was sorry. She was in her hot tub. She said, but she asked me when I was trying to go live. And I said, maybe 30 minutes. I said, and how is Kurt taking this news? Is he okay? She said, well, that's a little late for me. She said, I could maybe tomorrow. He will have to start the grieving now. I said, okay. And yeah, I know. Send Kurt my condolences. She said, thank you. And I asked her how she was holding up. I told her I cried. I said, I can't help it. I'm just shook. She replied to me and said, I cried. I am glad they found him, but sad it was in that condition. I am headed to bed. I will chat with you tomorrow. And I said, okay, Tay. I said, thank you for texting me, and condolences to you too. And she said, thanks. So tomorrow I am sure that I'm probably going to talk to her on the phone, and we'll probably have a cry session, honestly. But hopefully her and I will go live tomorrow and talk about this. Really like to hear from her, more. I know this is shocking to everyone. I don't think a lot of people held out a lot of hope that Dylan would actually be found, but he has been. It's just great. But Corn Dylan is saying, LOL, I just realized I still haven't bought my new dairy products in for the car. I heard about Dylan and it flew out of my mind. Yes, my spaghetti is literally still sitting in the microwave with a fork in it because I was warming it up. I opened up the microwave, I stuck the fork in to kind of spin it around, and the text went right across my phone, and I just left it. I haven't touched it. I have a bowl of spaghetti and a fork in my microwave, and it's just sitting there. I just haven't touched it. I just am not in the mood to eat. I just completely lost my appetite. So Justice Jane is saying, I can't get the green shit out of my head, that picture. I know. And I keep thinking in my head, like, this guy, James Brenner, took this plea deal, so we're never going to know, like, what exactly happened. And I just want to know how did this fight start? Because here's how I see James Brenner. This is just my opinion, okay? But this is just how I see James Brenner. Very low emotional intelligence. And so because I see him that way, and I see him as a really soft guy on the inside, but he does not know how to express his emotions. The easiest emotion to express is always anger. It's very easy to express anger. It's very hard to not express that and to actually say what's bothering you or hurting you. So a person with low emotional intelligence is just going to naturally act out in anger. And I feel like that's James Brenner. I feel like he is the kind of guy that lashes out and flips out and punches you or slaps you or something. And then after it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know why I did that. I'm so sorry. That's how I see him. And again, when he reached out last year to Dylan Rounds' grandmother and mother and family and wanted to talk without lawyers, I knew that he was ready to say, come clean, but their anger got in the way and they hung up the phone and they did not listen to what he had to say. And that's when he said, okay, forget it. I want my lawyers back in. I don't want to talk to you guys. So I was so angry about that. I didn't want to be angry at Dylan's family, but I was just so angry, like, oh God, please hold it together. Just please hold your anger in and just hear him out. Just listen to him because he's gonna tell you where your son is. So I'm just really glad that this has happened. I'm anxious to see what the plea agreement is. I want to know. I want to know how much time James Brenner is going to do. I'm not his parents, but if I was, I would not be happy if he got anything less than 20 years. Because again, James Brenner is 61 years old. If he gets 20 years, that's 81 until he gets out. If he lives that long. If. And he's not in the best health. So it's doubtful. Clorendellin, it would be hard to not lose one's cool when getting a call from the probable killer. Exactly. I understood, I got it, but I was just so like, oh, would I be able to do it? Would I be able to hold my anger emotion in and listen to this actual killer of my child? I can't answer that. I can't answer that. So I was angry with them just, because I knew that was their shot of getting the truth from him. But I understand. I understand the anger. Or I think I do. I haven't had anything like this happen to my children, thank God. So I can try to understand, I guess. Leopard Print. Candace said they'd never agreed to a plea deal, but I'm relieved in a way. Yes, she did. Yes, that's what she said. That, no plea deal. But and that's what has me thinking, because she was so, anti-plea, anti all of that, that whatever this plea bargain is, I feel like it's got to be a good one for them, because I just don't think that Candace would agree to it otherwise. So, but my concern always with Brenner was, if you guys don't do something to get him to talk or tell, again, he's not in the best health. So if the guy dies, he's got to take Dylan's location to the grave. And that was always my fear with that, that Dylan was never going to be found. He was going to die, and you would just never know. So I feel the same way that you do. I'm relieved that they did that, because even if Brenner serves 15 years or something, he's still going to be a much older man, and at least Dylan's remains get a proper burial. And I feel like maybe it's because I'm a Native American. I don't know. Burial's very, very important to me. It's just very important that people have a proper burial. I feel very strongly about that. You guys have to excuse me for just a second. I blow my nose. Yeah. Yeah, because I just always I thought about his body's remains just being out there in the middle of nowhere, of alone by himself, not buried properly, and it just I don't know. Again, maybe it's because I'm native. I have no idea, but I just feel very strong about people being properly buried. So, Justice Jane, I feel the same way in my Cherokee heritage. Yeah, I do think it's my Native American side that kicks up and feels so strongly about that. It's the same thing for me. I don't want to get off topic here, but it's just the same thing for me with Summer Wells. She is not properly buried, and that it just bothers me. This child should be buried properly, and all the people that have just shown so much love to this child and have worried and cared and gave a crap should just be able to come and pay their respects. And I'm glad that Dylan will have that, And I was saying on Glorindell's live stream that if I ever, because I live in Oklahoma now, I think you guys know that. I don't live in Delaware. I'm only 5 hours from Montello now. So, but if I ever visit Idaho, um, and if his family is okay with it, I would absolutely stop at Dylan's grave, put some sunflowers, and pay my respects to that young man, because his life was just so unjustly snuffed out, and I always think of it that way. He was snuffed out, this bright light of a 20-year-old young guy, just snuffed out. And now you see that all the talk of, is he gay, or is he autistic, is this or that, it's all irrelevant. None of it matters. Even if he was gay, what does it matter? It doesn't. He's deceased. He was murdered, and that's all that really mattered. All of that other stuff was a bunch of drama. Bunch of drama. And I've done a lot of speculating, but I did it off screen. And there was a lot of speculation about drug use with Dylan, and meth use, and things like that, with the last picture that had been taken of him in that burger shop, the long scraggly hair, the pimples on his face. He looked like a very different person. There's a lot of speculation about that. I just didn't do it on my channel, and I'm not going to do it now. I'm just saying. But Glorindella is saying, I'm shocked it's only 5 hours, 10-12 hour drive from Salt Lake to Denver. Yeah, I looked it up. I'm only 5 hours away, which is weird. But yeah. Yeah. You never saw that picture, leopard print. I have it somewhere in my emails. But yeah, it was like one of the last pictures taken. I think it was the last picture taken of Dylan. But he just looked very, very different. He did not look anything like the picture that was put out to the public, where he had short hair and his flannel on and stuff like that. He looked very different. His hair was much longer. He was much thinner. And he had some sores, some acne, a little acne on his face. But yeah, I really don't want to talk about that. I just don't, because it's just irrelevant at this point. It truly is. Shoo. I just feel like I'm gonna cry. I knew I was gonna be like this, and I kept telling myself, just give it a couple hours. Give it a couple hours. You can go live, and you're not gonna cry. And I just feel like just behind my eyes, I'm just trying to hold back. And I don't know. I hate this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just can't imagine how his loved ones feel, because I hate this. I hate how crazy bittersweet. Oh, thank God this boy gets to be buried properly. Holy shit, this 20-year-old young guy is dead. It's just bitter sweet. Yeah, go ahead, Leopard. You can definitely message me. Anyone. I mean, you guys, I've put my number up many a time, so feel free to message me. I'm open for it. Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I tried, you know, I just, I'll say this. There was a YouTuber, not any of Doug or any of them, not them, but there was a YouTuber that I was actually cool with and friends with. And she had the audacity to accuse me of using Dylan for clicks and money. And I still have those texts that she sent me. And it just floored me. Like, really? You think I'm using that? Okay. And she was a person that knew. She knew all of the information that I had behind the scenes that I've never to this day released. She knew. And so when she accused me of that, I was just like, you know what? Bye, girl. Bye, girl. Bye. I don't know what you're talking about. I have never done that. And in fact, if I did do that, again, the things that I could have released would have been some money makers for sure. It's just that's not what this was about. Not for me. So, but I just want to thank you guys for being with me, listening to me emotionally vent, and say a prayer for Dylan, please. Um, he's finally going to be back with his family, with his loved ones, not in the way that I think that anyone wanted him to be, but say a prayer for his family and for him. I think that's very important. Oh, well, thank you. Smile now, cry later. I'm crying now. Maybe, hopefully, I smile later. But yes, definitely with sunflowers. So I love you guys. Um, Working on some Gypsy Bland. I can't even think of her name right now. Just forget it. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And again, please don't forget to say a prayer for Dylan and his family before you go to bed tonight. God rest his soul. And I will talk to you guys later.